Hey everyone, thanks again for joining us on a Sunday for the Pat and Go Show. My name is Matt Lasker, your host of the Pat and Go Show every Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern. Appreciate you guys joining us for another week. I'm getting ready to watch my Niners go on the air. But again, you are here. We talk about coaching modern youth football in today's era. This channel started as an air raid channel for middle school and youth coaches, but it's quickly evolved into just how to be the best youth and middle school coach you can be in modern football today in 2020 with everything that's going on. So today, wanted to welcome in a couple guests with me out from Maryland. I have two people that I want to introduce: Coach Raymond Dean and Coach Rapp from out in Maryland. Coach Raymond Dean, how you doing? I wanted to let you introduce yourself real quick and say hello to everyone.
Thank you, Coach. Good evening, everyone. My name is Raymond Dean. I'm a youth coach out here in Maryland, Upper Marlboro, Maryland. Coach with a boys and girls club called the Marlboro Mustangs. I'm an offensive line coach. I've been coaching there for about 3 years. They shut us down because of COVID. So I've just been kind of just soaking up as much as I can soak up, tuning a lot to Coach Lasker's Pat and Go, and I'm active on Twitter and things like that. So that's pretty much, I guess my bio.
Yeah, and Coach Dean has been a part of this community, our little air raid community, since the beginning. We've been exchanging messages, and I appreciate you being so active, Coach, on Twitter and Facebook and all the different channels. So he's actually the reason why we have this great guest, Coach Rapp, on, because Coach Raymond Dean has been talking with him. He's been rapping with Coach Rapp on the side as well. And Raymond hit me up a couple of weeks ago, said, "Hey, I've met this great coach that's out here doing big things. He's an OC and assistant head coach out here in Maryland in a high school." And then I looked it up, did my research, and I jumped at the opportunity to have Coach Rapp on. So, Coach Rapp, how are you tonight?
Hey, Coach Lasker, I'm great, man. Living a dream, baby.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And so just so everyone can kind of frame it up, I know I said a few things about you, but can you give a little bit of a quick bio of who you are, where you live, and what you do?
Yes, sir. Coach Steve Rapp. I'm the assistant head coach, offensive coordinator, and quarterback coach at Dr. Henry A. Wise High School. We're a 4A public high school, which is the biggest in the state of Maryland. We've been open 16 years. We've been to 7 state championships and won 5, including 4 out of the last 5. We are I guess we're kind of a 11 personnel, 21 personnel, 10 personnel team. We're heavy in mesh and Y cross, which kind of fits into the air raid move here. Heavy RPO, we're power counter ISO, so a little more run game than the air raid guys like. But that's kind of our bread and butter. Coach Dean, he coaches that's our feeder program. The Marlboro Mustangs, yeah, their home field is located about a half a mile away from our high school. So he's reached out to me, and we're always trying to make sure we can do the best thing we can by our feeder, right? So
yes, sir. And that's music to my ears, Coach. I mean, for the most part, it seems to be that there's a good tie for most programs like that, but you hear about sometimes where it's completely disconnected. And I think we can all agree that the more unification with the high school and the middle school and then down to the youth, as much as you can bring those things together, it's better for the kids and for the product itself, probably. So great, Coach. And then so all those championships, how long have you been there? I'm sorry if you said that already.
No, this is year. I've been the offensive coordinator at Wise. This would have been my 7th year coming up. Yeah, I know. Year 7. Been so that's four state championships in 7 years for me.
Yes, sir. That's amazing. That's amazing. And so, I mean, honestly, I know I've brought you on because you've been gracious enough to share your OC offensive guru mindset with us. And we're going to get into kind of like game planning and then how to kind of set up the script, those type of things. But, I did want to kind of talk to you about your football life, because I think a lot of the coaches on this channel, we fancy ourselves actual football coaches. We're not at the high school level yet, but myself, I plan on coaching high school whenever I get a chance to. after my kids are kind of out of youth. And I think there's a lot of coaches out here that they have the bug. They're going to take their education deeper. They're learning air raid. They're getting certified. They're learning everything they can. And so maybe we can talk about your journey, how you got there, because a lot of guys will probably be trying to mimic that path. I mean, did you always know you wanted to be a high school coach, or what was your kind of football journey?
I think the football journey, I guess, when you think about it, I guess it's kind of interesting because that's not something I kind of venture back to all the time until I was asked. So I played basketball and football in high school. I went to Eleanor Roosevelt, which is a powerhouse public school here in Maryland, in PG County, Maryland. I guess ultimately I ended up being a better basketball player than I was, a quarterback. So I ended up playing basketball in college. Did a short stint in overseas. Went to Italy. Played. I was there about 6 months. Played overseas basketball. And when I came back home, because I found out I was going to be a dad, so came back home, and my dad, who played football at the University of Maryland, was coaching Little League football. He was coaching for Bowie Boys and Girls Club. Okay, so I went over there and I coached with him for 2 years. Ended up, I just kind of went and helped out the first year. Second year, ended up being the OC, and it kind of re-sparked all of that time missed away. How much I love football. Kind of, he was still trying to run the wing tee. So
it's like riding a bike, man. It just comes back to you.
There it is. So, I kind of got him out of that, and we kind of got more into the pistol. That was like back in like 2000 and maybe like 9, maybe 2000, probably about 2009, 2010, somewhere in that block there. So we got into the pistol.
So I want to hear the whole story, but why? I'm curious why you went there with your offense. You just got back to football. You just been watching college ball, and you're like, Nevada's tearing it up with the pistol, or what? Like where?
No, so the most interesting thing ever. So we wanted to kind of work from the gun, and the center couldn't snap it that far. So he moved the dude up. We had him at 5. We moved him up to 3, and he was a consistent snapper. Perfect. So then, as you know, it's just I think the biggest thing is that's the difference between being a good coach and a great coach, right? I believe the good coaches know their system inside and out, and they can beat you with their system. I believe the great coaches can adapt their system to their personnel every year, and that's what makes them special, right? So because we couldn't snap the shotgun, right, we started getting the jet sweep coming out of the pistol, and the rocket coming out of the pistol, and now you're faking it and running the buck trap and buck sweep and all of this. We all get back to all of it never changes, right? The wing tee is like, I feel like we're gonna be dead and gone, and somebody's still gonna be running the wing tee. Like it just, it's never going to die. So just kind of getting that deal going, and then my dad ended up getting an OC job in high school. So it kind of left me in a quandary. He wanted me to go with him, and I said, I'm gonna stay. And I ended up coaching one more year in boys club and doing it by myself. And then when that happened, he ended up leaving and going to a different high school. So then I went with him, and I was the JVO coordinator, then I was the JV head coach, then I became the passing game coordinator, then I became the O coordinator, and then it was finally like, all right, I got to get out of here. So I interviewed at a couple of different spots here, and ended up taking the offensive coordinator job at Wise, and it just from there it's just been kind of doing my own thing.
Yeah, that's great, man.
Now my dad now is my wide receiver coach, so he's now my assistant. That's always a great thing to yell at your dad on a practice field for not having this stuff right. Let me tell you,
Coach. That's hilarious. I would love to do that to my dad. He would kick my ass. Holy cow, that's great. And so how did you go from? So you kind of went wing tee. And I'm sorry, I just love the evolution pieces of these things because it's kind of different for all of us. Wing tee, then you knew you wanted to spread it out, get out from behind center, but you still were kind of run dominant. Yep. How did you get to a point where now you're running like the the staples of the air raid, where now you've added mesh and you've added cross, which, like you just said,
Yeah.
I mean, if now us at middle school, those are the two that we want to run the most, but we're scared, literally the most scared to run, because we're scared of our O-line holding up more than 3 seconds, right? But everyone knows those two plays are literally what were the basis of all air raid, like literally. So how'd you evolve to that?
That's you know what, that's a great question, because I'm going to tell you, I am probably only about 3 years into mesh, and Y cross maybe 6 or 7 years. Okay. And how I got to mesh was strictly Lincoln Riley. Okay, like I've studied Oklahoma's offense for the past 3 years, and the consistency that you come back to all the time is mesh, right? Like if I was coaching a 7th or 8th grade team, I'm telling you, man, I might only have 3 pass plays. It might just be mesh, 4 verticals, and some type of hitch, right? Like, because in the end, mesh does so much for you, right? That once you teach the quarterback how to read it, it's almost like you really don't need anything else other than, if you want to tag a vertical shot, or you want to tag post wheel or something like that. Now, we get into the nuts and bolts. I always have this argument with the real air raid people, because, Mike Leach's mesh is different than Lincoln Riley's mesh, who is kind of similar to Dana Holgerson's mesh. And it's kind of, I'm more along the lines of Lincoln Riley than I am Mike Leach. So, because I still believe, like Lincoln does, that, counter and running counter GT and power and outside zone, that's an attitude. And I just believe that you can't teach that. That's something that you got to ingrain in people every day.
Day one.
And so, first day we're putting in ISO and power. Like, this is kind of where we are. So that's strictly been my maturation process. When you talk about mesh and Y cross, it really comes from that. I would tell you that, kind of adjusting things early. I would tell you it was more Urban Meyer driven, because Urban Meyer is spread wing T. No matter how you look at it, how you chop it up, his run game is wing T. It's just from the pistol or from the shotgun.
Those Utah teams, man. Yep. For sure.
So that, I would say pretty much those are my, just my I guess my process. You still got Gus Malzahn down at Auburn, who's still using a lot of wing T principles with still running buck sweep and things. Tom Herman at Texas is the same way, a lot of quarterback power, but they're still in pin and pull, buck sweep, trap, like, and it just doesn't get away, I don't think. Like,
all right. I got to ask you before we get to your presentation, because I'm dying to, but you brought it up and now you got my wheels spinning. So
go ahead.
So mesh. We'll go 2x2. Let's just stay in 2x2. Let's just talk about that in 2x2. Just easy. We don't want to go in 3x1 or 3x. So just break it down for me. Who's doing what and your progressions? I'm assuming if you're Lincoln Riley, mesh is the second progression on your read. That's not ours.
It's not yours?
Well, I just did it with Mummy, my certification. It goes out, swing, mesh. I know a lot of you high school guys that have been doing it goes out, mesh, swing. But anyway, first set it up though. First, who's doing the outside receivers? Are they doing out?
Okay. So here's the question I got for you, right? Okay.
He doesn't want to answer.
Hey, no. I'm going to answer it for you. Okay, I am. I'm going to answer it for you. I just believe personally that mesh is easiest to teach from 3x1.
Oh,
okay.
I like that.
And the reason why I believe it's easiest to teach is because you can explain your rules. Your rules are so consistent in 3x1, right? And then in 2x2, it kind of changes because of what you said. Like the tags start coming out of 2x2. Would you agree with that or not?
Yeah.
Right, because that's when they start adding now. For us consistently, let's see here. I think I can share my screen.
Yes, sir.
But I'll pull it up here for you and show it to you. Hold on.
Let's go. Bonus footage from Coach Rapp. I'm sorry to derail this conversation. I just love learning about
look, man, I told you I love football. So you want to talk football? We're gonna talk football. All right, let's see here. Can everybody see my screen?
I am putting it up now. Here we go. We're ready to rock.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna put up a 7-on-7 clip first and show you, because you're gonna laugh at this. All right. So let's start with this. All right. Okay. So now, 3x1. All right. Our rules are simple. Number 1 strong. All right. Is going to run a 5-step out. All right. That right there, like you just said, that's 1.
Mm-hmm.
No questions. Okay. 2, we're going to pre-snap the corner. Okay. So if the corner is outside leverage, that cancels this right now. If he's head up or inside leverage, we're thinking this today. Okay. Any type of man look, he'll be under, he'll be over. And then we teach this at 12 yards. All right. And we call this route a OTB. Okay. OTB stands for over the ball.
All right. So you're trying to get in the quarterback's vision, like just right back there.
There it is, right? Because we're basically saying, now, I know a lot of the real air raid guys teach this, that if nobody's chasing, then you mesh up. We don't mesh up. We always run through, because what we're saying is if they run through, these linebackers do this, it opens the void zone right here.
Yeah.
And I like this. I like this throw with my quarterback looking straight at it, straight ahead with no problems.
Right.
Okay.
He can see the whole. He can see the whole field on defenders on the other side.
No question. The reason why I put this up for you, right? These plays are in succession. So if you look up top, right, you can see play 64. Watch this. I actually laughed at this. It was a 7-on-7 cut up they sent to me. Watch this. All right, pre-snap, take the out, right?
Mm-hmm.
No problem. Let's go to play 65. Still the same call. Okay. Pre-snap, take the out again.
Keep going, baby.
Here we go. Play 66. Check this out.
Adjust.
Look, you see, my man. He's off and bailing. We'll take the out again then. Okay,
Coach. I don't know if you know, but you're an air raid coach. I just want to let you know that.
No, I'm not an air raid coach.
You are.
We have power. We got power, baby. Air raid cats don't like power. So you go to play 67. All they did was flip it, and now he takes the mesh, which is no problem, right?
Love it.
Come on down, play 68. Still, now we got it to the field. Look, takes the out. So I say
the whole series.
Yep, I say that to say that if you know, right, like if this is what you're confident in and that's what you're coaching and that's where you're at, you spend your time and coach that, right? And for Oklahoma, that's always their first, right? Their first read is pre-snap that out, and they coach it for a 6-step out. For us, we have our receivers. Usually, I think everybody has the receivers outside foot up, right?
Inside.
Yes, inside foot out. I'm sorry. So our outside receivers outside foot is up. Okay.
Nice.
And this is something else that I go through. It seems like every clinic, everybody asks me why we do that. Okay. We do that because we throw a lot of smoke screen to one. And when his outside foot is up, all he has to do is drop his inside foot and he gives the quarterback his whole chest.
Yeah.
So it makes the throw for the quarterback easier. Okay. Yeah. We run a lot. So because we throw so much smoke screen, that's why we leave the outside foot up. So when Oklahoma's doing a 6 steps deal, it's a 5-step for us, because you see what I'm saying? Because it's one extra step for them when their inside foot is up versus their outside foot.
Yeah, totally. That makes sense. And I've heard coaches go back and forth. We do that with our slots because we do a lot of like pedal screens and same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Beautiful, man. That's cool. And that's great. That's great knowledge on the mesh and a great tip because, on paper, it looks easier, in my mind at least, for 2x2 because it's mirrored. Everybody knows exactly what they're doing. I'm just trying for an 11-year-old, like, don't get confused, please. I'll flip the running back and he can swing either way. But I love that little hunt route in the middle of the field. I just love that idea behind it. And honestly, just by the reality of a football game, you're in 3x1 80% of the time. I mean, honestly, you're not ever in the middle of the field.
There you go. And we go with a minus split backside, right? So we're keeping that dude in tight. So we're forcing the corner to make a call. Like, basically what I'm trying to do with that is paint the picture pre-snap, if that makes sense. Like, So everything is already like, if you're not going to come inside, right, then, or you're just going to stand out there and wait, and that means you can always run jet sweep back to the nub and have that dude hook the corner, right? There's a lot of things that go. You can throw verticals from a type deal, where you can get that dude at a minus split going out vertical and outflanking, already outflanked the corner because he's outside of him. So tight post comes back there. Like, it's just a lot of things that you can add on when you get into that scene. And I just, now for us, when we're doing that, now when we go to 2x2, right, the rules are still the same. So we'll call who goes low, who goes high, and whoever goes low, then that's where the OTB and the wheel goes. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, just trying to keep it consistent as to where
you're building those rules. You could build on those rules. If that's if this is happening to your side, this is how you're reacting to it. I mean, that's, if we can build in those rules where it's really nice and easy, then we're winning. I agree. Todd just mentioned that facility. What the heck was that facility? You guys don't have that for your high school.
Oh, no. That facility is in Virginia. They just built that facility about, I'm gonna tell you, man, that facility is probably not even a year old. It might be about 8 months old or something.
Beautiful.
And they run 7-on-7 there, and that place, it's called the St. James, by the way, and that place has everything. They got indoor fields, they got ice hockey, they got volleyball, basketball, weight room, restaurant. Like, it's amazing. Like, let me tell you.
Jealous, man.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
We're trying to start a 7-on-7 thing out here for the youth and middle school kids. It's huge in high school out here, but no one's doing it for middle school, so I want to do it. And the main thing we're looking for is a facility. And out here in the Bay, it's just crazy expensive just in general. But that type of place, it makes me want to move to somewhere else, because you could build a palace somewhere else.
Yeah. Well, that's the only thing that we have like that around. Coach Dean will tell you that, but we don't have nothing. That is unheard of, kind of like. That's the first time I've ever seen it, and I'm telling you, it's amazing. But there's nothing else like that out here. Now, like, you go to like places like Miami and stuff, they have those type of spots on a regular basis. Are you guys? You don't do in Oakland? They don't do anything with Battle. I know Battle's big with the kids 7-on-7.
Yeah, they have it just in the middle school and youth. It just hasn't really exploded. I mean, there's a couple teams out here. Like, there's a couple Snoop League teams out here in the Bay. We don't play in that league. We play in a separate league that we've been in for 60 years. So yeah, they like, our league for some reason has some weird rules. I mean, they're not weird. They make sense, but I wish they'd kill it, because football is in a rough shape around the country. But like, our team, we come from probably a little bit wealthier area than most teams in our league, so we have the ability to practice year round, and people will pay for it. But we can't do it through our T-Bird team. So I created my separate company so we could do 7-on-7 through that, and like do skills clinics and stuff. So we and those other groups, they can do it through their program. So we're trying to like piece it together and make it work. Very much like the AAU team for basketball. I mean, that's really what it seems like. It's kind of mirroring that whole AAU world.
Yeah, I mean, that's essentially what it is.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool. All right, Coach, I swear I'm gonna let you get to your presentation. Todd had one last question that was great.
Oh, it's okay. I better say the questions are better, to be honest about it.
So when you're doing mesh, I've again, my whole world is about keeping things simple. So we just have the mesh set the Y set the mesh. If it's a slot coming from the other side, or the X coming from the other side, for us, Y always is setting the mesh, and they're always slapping left hands, and I'm keeping it simple. I'm not. How are you guys? It sounded like you were changing it per the situation. How do you guys decide who's over the top, kind of setting the mesh?
All right, so for you, when you say the Y sets the mesh, no matter where the Y is at in the formation, he's always going to be the low mesher, right?
Well, we only have been running at 2x2, so that might change things.
Oh, okay. All right. So you're just saying, if, for example, no matter whether the Y is on number 2 on the left or number 2 on the right, he's always going to be the low mesher, no matter what.
The high mesher.
The high mesher. Okay, he's going to be the high one. Okay, all right. So for us, we're backwards. I tag the low mesher. So if your letter comes up, you got the low mesh, and wherever the low mesh comes from, that's where the OTB and the wheel goes. So everything's tagged together. So if we're talking 2x2, and let's just say that H was the right slot. If we said H, H mesh, whatever, then that would make the right slot be the low mesh. It would make the right number one wide receiver have the OTB, which is that, that 12-yard curl up in the hole. The left slot would have the high mesh. The backside number 2 would have the 6-step out or the 5-step out.
Okay. And so that's a call for you to make based on what you're seeing on the field, and you just call it out in the call. So how did our call is like open is our formation, open mesh right, like that's as simple as my call is. So you're saying like formation, and you're tagging the underneath mesh when you call your formation and play. Okay,
that's it. Yeah, and it's obviously because we're always wheeling the back. It's a 5-man protection for us. So for us it would be formation, tag, call. So like let's say like let's just say it's called Texas Tech, right? So for us it would just be like deuce right, F, Texas Tech, and then the protection signal, 5-man protection, 50 protection. So it would just be, deuce right, F, Texas Tech, 50. And then they know the 50 is the 5-man protection, and going from there.
Got it.
And of course we hand signal everything, so it's just as simple as saying like
I'm saying why stick? I'm done.
There you go. So it's kind of it's signals. I guess signals clean it all up for the most part, because then they'll do when you do that, they'll just look at you like, all right, what's the letter? You know what I'm saying? Right. Now, if we go 3x1, then that's when it becomes really easy, right? Because 3x1, the single receiver is always the low mesher, always. So that just it just makes it easy. That's why to me I thought it was easier to teach it from 3x1, because it kind of takes away. It just basically lets you go mentally to your rules. Like it's one of those deals where you can conceptually just memorize it and be done with it.
Yeah, I like that. Okay, cool. That's gold, man. I'm gonna start teaching 3x1 right now. I mean, this is the great part about the only great part of this COVID thing is like, I mean, I got all the time in the world right now to kind of tinker, right?
Yep. That's where I'm at. I'm telling you, man, you can change it, play around with it, think about it, make it good.
Yeah, exactly. All right, cool, man. So yeah, I mean, I'd love to hear what you have to share with these guys. You've already dropped some serious knowledge on these guys, but I'd say, yeah, let's go for it. Let's see what you're ready to talk about here as far as OC goes, and I think everyone is gonna really enjoy this presentation.
Okay. Will I be able to see the questions or no?
I will put them on the screen for you.
Okay, sweet. Because I'm about to say, look, guys, in the end, the best clinics that I've ever been to are the ones that you're asking questions and the presenter is answering. Because in the end, I kind of did this talking to Coach Lassiter. I kind of did it based on how we're going to do it in high school, and then I'm going to kind of, as I'm talking, I'm going to kind of link it to the middle school staffs. I know obviously the middle school staffs are smaller and might not have the same resources we do, but please, if you hear something, you think something, put it in the chat, stop me, let's talk about it, because in the end, if you don't leave here better, then I didn't do my job. So I want to share, I want to make sure we have some conversation. That's because to me, that's the best way to get this thing done.
Love it, Coach. I love it. And yeah, if something comes in while you're talking, it seems relevant, I'll break in and ask it to you too.
All right, great. All right, let me open this PowerPoint up.
All right, cool. While you're doing that, I'm going to answer some of these just comments out there. Coach Ross, how you doing? Yeah, I think the 7-on-7 piece, he's talking about starting 7-on-7 out there. I think that's huge, and I think that's something that these kids would love to do. And a lot of these kids that aren't allowed to play tackle, we got a lot of kids that come out their 8th grade year right now just to get something before they go to high school, so they don't get smacked on day one in high school. But this 7-on-7 opens up a whole nother avenue to get kids involved in football at the youth and middle school level. So, it's a step above flag. It's kind of 2-hand shove, if you will. It's kind of that fills in that gap between tackle and and flag, where it's pretty much just recreational fun, which is great until about third grade. And then the kids that love football are like, why are these guys on my team? Like, they don't even care. You know what I mean? Like, there's got to be something to offer those kids where they don't, I don't want them to feel bad about, the kids that don't want to play, and vice versa. The kids that don't care, they should be with kids that don't care, so they're just having fun, right? So
yes, right, agreed.
All right, cool. So you're getting it teed up. You had the presentation on for a second.
Oh yeah, I'm good. I was just listening to.
Oh, cool. No, I was just filling the time with Coach Ross. But yeah, Coach Ross, if you want to talk about it, let's talk about it, and maybe we can do a show on it, because, I mean, in the end, I think it's pretty repeatable in every area, as long as that there's a need for it, which I think there is.
Okay.
All right, cool. Coach Rapp, again, thanks for joining us. I'm excited to hear you speak, and yeah, take it away, bud.
All right. Okay, guys. Like I said, anybody has anything, please, kind of reach out. Let's talk about it. I'm just going to kind of jump into our game prep. Once again, guys, I just always want to start with that. Just because we're doing it this way doesn't make it the right way. All right. This is just what works for us. We done tried some things. We done kept some things. We done thrown some things out. We've done some different deals. Like I talked before, me and Coach last week, we kind of talked off camera about we're even thinking that moving forward, we're just going to coaches meet on Zoom now instead of spending so much time, meeting on our own. It gives us more time with our wives and our kids and our families, and kind of just making sure that we're using the technology that we're able to have to its fullest. Okay, so. Once again, my name is Steve Rapp. Y'all see here is my Twitter. I'm always on Twitter, guys. If you follow me there, my DM, you can always DM me. I'll get back to you, hopefully sooner than later, and we can go from there. Okay. All right. So I'll start with a regular week for us. We play on Friday nights. All right. So usually Friday night, we play at 7:00. We're usually, let's say that the game is over 11, by 11, after we play on Friday night, we always have a coaches and players cookout put on by the Booster Club. So we make sure we feed all the kids. We always eat after the game. The coaches eat together, the kids eat together, kind of go over everything that just happened. We're big into family. Like we want to make sure that we're building young men in the process of football. So, anytime that you get an opportunity to kind of sit down, and I mean, it's nothing crazy, it's hot dogs, hamburgers, and then kind of potluck by the Booster Club. But I think it just means so much that you're able to kind of rewind, unwind, sit down, have a conversation, about everything that's going on and kind of lock in from there. So usually we're done by about 11:45 on Friday night, and kind of, moving from there. So for me, I hit the ground running as the OC. So as soon as I get home, we have two end zone. We have two camera views for our game. We have an end zone view and a wide view. As soon as I get home, I start uploading the film Friday night. Okay. Usually about that time, I'm kind of going through the process of who played, who didn't, checking scores on Twitter, trying to find out what's going on from there. And moving from there. Okay. So you see here on Saturdays, enjoy your time with your family. Watch the previous game. I watch college football. I urge our kids to watch college football. For us in high school, we grade the players out. So I have a grading system that we use with pluses and minuses. And guys, I can tell you, if from a youth league, I know it might take you a little bit of time, but if you grade the kids in a youth league, I'm telling you, the kids love to get their grades back. Like they love to say, "Hey, coach, what did I get on this? What's my overall grade? How can I get better? How could they love the grading system?" Okay, so I'm telling you that might be something that you want to look into. I mean, it's just like getting your hair cut and getting a lollipop at the end, right? It's almost like that. All right, I did good today, but I got a B. So how do I get the A, coach? Like, so there's something that maybe you're not doing right now, that grading them out individually is big time. It takes a little bit of time though. So it's something that, it's something you got to put into. I have a form I use that's consistent. So if you need the form, I'm willing to share the form with you. Just,
please.
Yeah, I'm gonna kind of walk you through it, but I'm telling you, it's something extra that you're going the extra mile, and you're gonna get the extra mile out of them for going the extra mile, if that makes sense.
So
Okay.
how do you deliver that? You deliver that one-on-one with them
Yeah.
the next week, or?
So I do it. I see. For me, I believe in peer pressure. We have a statement on our wall in the locker room that says all pressure isn't bad pressure. Okay.
Right.
So for us, it's good to get an A, right? While we're in that position, I do it. I do. So we have two different meetings now. I got my quarterback room, and then I have my total offense room. So I do the grading. My individual grading is done in the quarterback room. Then my overall grading is done in the entire offense is done together. Because while Johnny is excited about getting the A, Bobby has to understand why he got a D. And
Yep.
usually once you get the D, you never want to get the D again. Right. So I believe that little bit of peer pressure. Now I don't believe in beating them up, right? But I believe in making sure that everybody understands what that problem was. And it seems as though nobody wants to get below the C. Like, and when you get the C, you're disappointed. So
Yep.
that's kind of a situational, like what we talked about now. I'll probably be doing that on Zoom on Sunday nights now moving forward. Right.
Love it.
So meeting with them, kind of going forward from there. So you can see the things that we do. After I load all the film up, I wake up first thing Saturday morning. I merge the film, put the two cuts together. We're doing our exchange with whatever team we're playing with. We send it off to Huddle Assist. So Huddle Assist breaks down all the just kind of all the formations, the downs, the ODKs, all of that stuff you would use in Huddle. And then I'm in charge of the offensive stats. So I got to go through and do, completions and rush yards and, pancakes and all of that stuff. The D coordinator, he does his grades on the D. The D coordinator is also the head coach. So he does his grades. He does the defensive staff stats, and that's, for the most part, that's all we do on Saturday. But now I can tell you, we'll probably be adding a Zoom meeting in there at some point in time. All right. So Sunday, we track loafs and softs. Okay. So a loaf is each position coach, I asked them to go through and grade their own position, and the loafs is the biggest thing. Okay. Like that is, and what I call a loaf is anything that you're out there not going 100%. So when you can find that guy on tape, that D lineman laying on top of the offensive lineman and not running down the line of scrimmage, or
Mm-hmm.
that wide receiver, right, who we could have scored, but he didn't hustle down there and block that guy, or the guard pulls around there for power and doesn't block anybody. Those are loafs, right? Like those are out there taking plays off. When you get a loaf, okay, that's an extra sprint at practice. So anytime you have one loaf, they go up by 10-yard increments. So one loaf is a 10-yard sprint, two loafs is a 20-yard sprint, three is a 30-yard sprint. And so if you have five loafs, right, that's five 50-yard sprints. Does that make sense?
Yep. Love
Okay,
it.
so softs are the same thing, like loafs or softs. I like using loafs better because it's not really good to walk around and call everybody softs, but
Not
um,
anymore.
yeah. So there you go.
Used to be funny back in the day.
Yeah, there you go. So kind of just using loaf. Loaf is the same thing. It's interesting. Sometimes when you go through and got to put this stuff actually on a PowerPoint, it kind of makes you think about, dang, I guess we really did change that, huh? So
Yeah.
you can see count your positions. We have a Google spreadsheet, and in the Google spreadsheet, it goes around. Everybody can edit it, just like you would do at your job. So it would say like D tackles, 7 loafs, and it would have the number, the player's number, and then how many loafs that individual player had. So it might say D tackle had a total of 12 loafs. D tackles had a total of 12 loafs. Number 72 had 2. Number 70 had 1, and number 55 had 6. Okay, done. And then we know, for us, the individual coach has to stay after practice to do the sprints. So that's a little incentive for the coach too, to because nobody really wants to stay after practice. So little incentive for the coach to make sure that he's on top of his game and getting the most out of his players. Um, Now you look down here, 1 or 2 plays per position that are unforgivable, and we all know that. Maybe somebody fumbled the snap, and instead of just falling on it, they tried to pick it up and run alignment, right? Or unforgivable where, maybe the quarterback threw an interception and nobody ran to try to tackle the guy, or, just basically the low lights, right? And I just ask for 1 or 2 plays per position, where essentially if we do that, we end up with about a 10-play playlist, right? Where you can just go through and say, guys, I mean, this just isn't championship football, right? Like, it's just not, we can't have this, if this is where we want to be at the end. This is the deal. And then you can see right there, championship ever follows it. So I start with the lows and then we end with the highs, right? So where you're making sure that we're taking care of the bad things, but in the process, we're also showing you the championship effort, right? And then you want to get to a point where you're here and you're looking at your 1 or 2 plays and the coach is saying, hey, coach, I can't find one this week. Hey, then that's great. Right. And sometimes you're not going to have championship effort at every position. Right. Like, or you're not going to have an unforgivable play at every position. And that's when, once again, you can see where the kids, hey, coach, hey, it becomes almost like hey, I had championship effort on play 79. Did you see that? And I'm like, yeah, so what happened to play 1 through 78? Like, where it's kind of like, those creating the lingo, with the players so that they're rewarded, you're rewarded, they know you care about them, they care about you, and it becomes now a situation of, all right, we got to get this game plan stuff in, but the kids know that we love them in the process, right? Because you're taking care of point A, point B, point C to get to point D, right? Does that make sense? So,
totally.
And once again, is some of this stuff overkill, coach? It might be, right? It might be where you might say, hey, man, that's a whole lot. You're right. But in the end, right, you want to know that you're asking 1,000% from these guys, right? You're asking your players to be there on time, to compete while they're there, right? To stay locked in, to do the things that you need them to do. Then, I feel like it's an obligation as a coach to give them the same thing I'm asking from them, if that makes sense. So,
and coach, we're trying to raise the level of coaching in youth and in middle school, and these are the things that sets good coaches apart. Like you're saying, to take the time to put in the stats. Not everybody, like you said, has the same resources. Huddle's not cheap. Nope. I've been blessed with the ability to have the organization I work for. They buy the Huddle license, and we could use it. So I'm just imploring for the coaches, and we have been. If you do have that, and you're not taking advantage, and you're not putting the stats in, and you're not grading your players, these are the things that, again, this what turns you from a dad coach to a legitimate football coach, and help those players in turn raise their game. So I love it, coach. Keep all this stuff. It's all gold. So keep it going.
Yeah, because in the end, and when you go back, and I mean, even for our position coaches, right, who our position coaches, I think once again we have one of the best staffs that there is. I think we got our staff in high school is like we have a grad from Columbia University who's a lawyer on our staff. We have a grad from the University of Maryland who owns a construction business. We have a grad from Howard University who is high up in the government and IT. Our head coach graduated from Wake Forest and played football there, and he's been teaching forever for how many years. And we have all this experience on our staff, right? And the times that we're living in today, we got to take the time to raise young men, right? And it can't just bypass them with football. So, all of this is, it's the more time you spend on the tape, and it doesn't have to be Huddle, right? It could be just your wife or your girlfriend videotaping it, and then you coming home and just doing it by the videotape. Hey, it might take that. That's how it was when I was in Little League. That's how I remember, on the camera, plugged in with the 2 cords, the red cord and the yellow cord, right? And just rewinding on the camera and then drawing the play up, like
on that little screen.
Yep, there you go. So I've been there. I understand. And when I was there, I did the same thing. Not as in depth as this, obviously, right? But just whatever it is you can come up with, they're going to be appreciative of. I can guarantee that.
Sure.
So, and that's why I'm saying is guys that's listening, I'm giving y'all generalities of how we do things, and because of that, we got to kind of try to base it off what your materials and what you guys have or what you don't have, or what the best way to go about it is. So,
Coach, A lot of these coaches don't even know that they should have this scouting like report broken down. Like this is all stuff that maybe most of us haven't seen. So just
Okay.
that you're showing it and that it exists is going to open a lot of eyes. So thank you.
Okay, cool. And like I said, man, any of our paperwork that I can share with you, I'm willing to share. I just don't, obviously, if you're in the Maryland area and you're listening, and hey, man, y'all got kids going to other schools and this, that, and the third, I'm not giving you our stuff. But anybody else, hey, man, you know what I'm saying? Like, hey, no problem. Okay, so
Yes,
right here is kind of from an offensive perspective, this is what I ask my staff to do on a weekly basis. Okay. We have another Google spreadsheet. I call it the like and don't like. So remember, as I told you, I've been a youth coach, I've been a JV coach, I've been a position coach, I've been a position coach on the varsity and not a play caller. And I always felt like that one of the things I hated the most was when there was a coordinator ahead of me and he didn't value what I said as a position coach. So when I always vowed that when I became a coordinator, that I was always going to listen to my staff, right? Like, I'm not saying that just because they say it, I'm going to do it, but I'm going to at least listen to it. Okay. So we started another Google form. We call it the like and don't like. Okay. So each coach has a box on the form. So the running back coach has a box, the wide receiver coach has a box, the O-line coach has a box. And what I ask for is once you go through and you do this stuff, everything you're required, I ask you to go into the staff page and just put what you like. So Coach Lassiter might like jet sweep this week from 2x2. Okay. And Coach Dean might like power from pro and 21 personnel. And so might like 4 verts or mesh or whatever it is that you like this week. Or the O-line coach is famous for, hey coach, please don't call mesh this week because it's only a 5-man protection and they blitz every second and third down. So those are the things that kind of roll together. The like, and sometimes it's funny. Like we'll play a couple bad teams, and coaches will go in there and put in the like box. Hey, coach, I like everything you're gonna call this week is probably going to score a touchdown, right? And then you got the reverse of the you're going into the state championship game, and it ain't nothing but 3 comments in the whole on the whole sheet this week.
Yeah,
right? Where it's like, I don't really know what I like, but hey, man, you're gonna get it done, so let's do it.
Yeah. Good luck, coach. We got your back.
Yeah, there you go. So there's been, it tips, and of course, when that happens, I always make jokes, but it's a floating thing, and I think that it's a good thing for morale, right? Because it always gives everybody a voice. It gives people it gives me an opportunity to kind of see like, all right, this is what they're thinking versus what I'm thinking. I think sometimes football is just like like art in a way where you can look at a painting and 5 people could look at it. You can get 5 different takes on what it is that we're looking at. So with that being said, it's kind of like, all right, let me put this out here and just get everybody's take. So if you got 4 coaches on your staff, hey man, one of those coaches might only be a cameraman. But hey, that film will be great that week if you ask that cameraman, hey, tell me the things you like this week. Trust me when I tell you this. Right? You know what I'm saying? Like, and sometimes, hey, he might even say, hey, I don't do that. I just videotape. And then that's even better. Right? So it's once again it's opening lines of communication. So
that's a huge point though. I mean, honestly, the best companies, the best pro sports teams, not even football. I mean, the Warriors, I know I'm Bay Area centric, but the Warriors are famous for getting the GM, the coach, and the owners all in the same room and just like locking the door and just going at it and saying whatever the hell they want to say to it. Like, you got to have everyone's perspective. And I love this because especially with us youth coaches, we only know what we know. And gosh, the more perspective and ideas, the better, because if you're the type of person that is like intimidated by being around coaches that might know more than you, you're probably not doing it. You're probably not in the right place, right? So I love that idea, coach, and just giving everyone a voice, and at the very least they feel like they've been heard, like you said. But I mean, at the very most, maybe you didn't realize they're blitzing every second and third down, right? Like, that's something that you didn't pick up. So that's just helping you. So that's great.
Exactly. And then it's kind of like, so going through your game plan, right? I'm making my notes and, I'm writing things down, but nothing's final, right? So, I'm saying, all right, they like, this is their favorite blitz or this is their favorite front or whatever. And I got my answers. And it's always good when I got my answers written down on the paper and then I go into the likes and don't like page, and I see 6 out of my 10 answers are on there by the other coaches, right? So all that did was reassure me that, hey man, I knew all 6 of those were going to work, and so did they, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of, it's almost like a checks and balances system, if that makes sense. Like,
Totally.
where it kind of holds everybody accountable, and that's what it is, because then I know that the coaches are watching film and the coaches are doing what they're supposed to be doing, as well. So, I mean, I know you guys are on here. You can see this. I don't really know if I need to, read every one of these, but
No,
you can
that's
kind of, you can kind of see where, just basic things. And now, if we're going to a middle school perspective, I'm pretty sure that, or at least when I coached youth league, we didn't play a whole bunch of different fronts and a whole bunch of different coverages, and we were kind of who we were. Like, we were
Yep.
we were a one high team. We were a 4-3 when I coached it. We were too high. We played some cover 2, but for the most part, we would roll that dude down, try to get an extra guy in the box because it was run heavy. And we played more cover 1 than we did anything else. So, for the most part, I remember our D coordinator when I was there. He used to number the linebackers 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then if he called your number, you would blitz. So I don't even know how you were prepared for that. Like, I'm saying, like, there's no,
yeah.
it's kind of off the hip. So, I just would say, you biggest thing is there. Let's just shore the pass protection up and make sure we know exactly what it is we're teaching, whether we're just going to block the man in front of us. I call that cat blocking. So, when people do that, I call it cat blocking, and everybody says, "Well, coach, why you call it cat blocking?"
You got
Because
that
it's
cat.
block the cat in front of you. There you go.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So,
That's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah. So that's kind of, that's kind of seems to be the way. Try to figure out a way to get the running back in protection so he can help with blitz pickup, and kind of play from there. So
Yeah.
you can see, we get really detailed in our scouting, because I want to know, as you know, one of the biggest things that I fear as a coordinator is not knowing. Um, I feel like, I want to leave no rock unturned. I want to know who you are as a person. Look, I want to know the D coordinator, what his wife looks like, how many kids he has. Like, like, I want to know. I want to know it all. I want to know what the favorite blitz is, what the stunt is. Are you hiding coverages? Are you rolling people? Are you spinning? What do you do with a tight end? What happens when it's motion? There's all of these things that I gotta learn. I gotta learn my guy, right?
Yeah.
So this is what I asked for them. As always, we have a recruiting sheet, not a recruiting sheet. I guess I should say a scouting sheet, that all these answers, the across the top is the question, and they got to put the answers in. And then, obviously I go through it myself as well, but I compare my notes to them just to make sure that, we didn't leave any stone unturned. So
Yeah.
that's
I love
kind
I
of,
love everyone doing it independently, and
yeah,
then comparing notes. Right. Then you get a real unbiased opinion, and good,
yes,
bad, or indifferent. It's their
yeah.
opinion. I
And
love it.
that's it. Like, I always, like I tell the receiver coaches, if Coach Lassiter is the DB and he wears number 6, I need you to know him. Like, I need you to know, hey, he's always backpedaling, or he's
Yeah.
always bailing, or anytime he's head up, it's man, or how many touchdowns has he given up this year? And on those touchdowns, what routes did he give it up on?
Mm-hmm.
Will he tackle somebody? I need you to learn these cats and tell me. Now, of course, once again, I'm watching and doing my own evaluation. But you, as
Right.
the wide receiver coach, I need you to be able to tell me that. Because then in the game, when you tell me, hey, just sub 6 out and put the backup in, now I know it's time to go vertical. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? Like, And those are the answers that we got to get together. So everybody's not always as committed, and sometimes you want everybody to match your ambition, and that's not always going to happen. So any box that doesn't get filled in here, gentlemen, I already have it filled in my mind or on paper. So that just is what it is, right?
Yep.
So I thought this slide was super important, okay, for the guys that have huddle, because I'm always asking college coaches, other successful high school coaches, what reports are you using? Like, tell me what I need to know, what I don't know. Like Coach Lassiter, it was interesting. I talked to the offensive coordinator in North Carolina, Coach Phil Longo, who's another air raid guy, by the way.
Yes, sir.
Right, and kind of kicked it around with him. And he said something to me, and I fired back, and he was like, "Oh, I mean, I didn't know that. Like, most people don't know that." He said, "Well, all right, coach, what percentages is your quarterback throwing right, and then what's his percentage throwing left?" And I said, "Oh, coach, that's easy." And he said, "What do you mean?" I said, "Look, his completion percentage throwing it left is 74%, and his completion percentage throwing it right is 72%." And he got quiet, and he was like, "Hey, coach, I don't think anybody's ever answered that question for me."
Yeah, exactly.
And I said, "But look, coach, you know why that is, right?" And he said, "Why is it?" I said, "Because when you're in the shotgun, it's easier for a right-handed quarterback to throw the ball left." Well, why is that? Because you don't have to move. It's basically like a shortstop, right? If you think about a right-handed quarterback throwing left, his shoulder's already open.
Yep.
So all he's doing is hop stepping and letting it rip. When you
That's
got to
why.
throw it right, you basically got a basketball pivot and throw it back right. But see, naturally, you might not even realize that, because right-handed, you're just naturally right-handed and you're working to the right side, right? But for our quarterbacks, we got every he just started, he was a sophomore. We got every throw that he threw left, and then every throw that he threw right. And we went through every one of those throws in our quarterback meetings. So understanding that, now are you able to have a kid for 4 years as a youth league coach? I don't know. Maybe you got to keep moving up with him, I guess. But those are things that now, when you don't have anything to do, that you could be going over, saying to yourself, all right, this is the way I'm going to work this now, right?
Yep.
Learning his strengths, learning who he is. How does he do it better? How can I get it out quicker? Is there different things that move the process to make him individually better? And I think that's a high ceiling that, for me, I'm trying to figure it out every day. I'm trying to find different ways to keep him, or even my whole room, in tuned. Through our deal, we didn't had a couple pro players come on and talk to him. When we were going with when the George Floyd thing happened, we had a police officer, a United States Park police officer, come on and talk to our guys. We've had some like community figures, guys that are big in the community. Just kind of trying to make sure that we're in tune and they're intact to everything that's going on around them, and making sure that football, right, is involved in it.
Yep.
And it's just it's interesting, man. All the things that are going on in the world around us, it's a crazy place. I think we just got to try our best as adults to hold on, right? Hold on and help them get better. So, that's kind of I guess those are some of the things I use. You want to go more in depth about huddle or reports I'm using or anything like that, just DM me. We can talk about it some more.
Right on.
And we'll get there. I guess this the last slide I had here, just kind of touching on building our play sheet. This is the way that I go through my process. Okay, when I say non-negotiables, those are my, I'm going to tell you my 5 runs and my 5 passes. Now, it's not always 5 and 5. Sometimes it could be 6 and 3. It could be 3 and 6. It could be 10 and 0, whatever. But these are non-negotiables that we're going to run. So, like, I can tell you when Wise High School shows up, we're going to run power and power read. Like, that's going to go down, right? We're going to run counter GT. We're going to run some version of ISO, and we're going to run some version of outside zone. So those are like 5 non-negotiable runs that's going to happen, right? Then we'll go into the pass plays, like non-negotiables. We're going to throw verticals and switch verticals, right? We're going to throw mesh. We're going to throw quick game, and we're going to throw shock, which is probably one of our favorite combinations. And it's those are some things that we're going to do. So those are non-negotiables. So those go on the play sheet. Period. The best 10 things we do are on the play sheet. And that's now it just depends on what personnel or what formation is coming out of this week. And then it goes to first downs and come outs. And, when I say come outs, I'm talking anything that's the first play out there. So, going out there, this is my first play. For me, guys, a win for me is 4 yards. Okay, I want everybody to understand that. I'm on drive setters, I need at least 4. Okay, I want to get to 2nd and 6 every time. All right, because I feel like in 2nd and 6, the playbook is always open. And that puts you in a good situation. So because then it gets you to third. If you get 2 yards on third down, right, you're at 3rd and 4. 3rd and 4 is you got screen downs, you got RPO run heavy stuff, you got play action stuff, you got a whole bunch of stuff on 3rd and 4 that keeps you in a good situation. All right, motion and shifts. We're always going to use some type of motion, some type of shift, if not both. From there, I go goal line and empty, and it's interesting because I get this question a lot. Well, how do you game plan goal line and empty at the same time? It's easy, right? So I go from inside the 10. That's what I count as goal line, and then I just want to know: has anybody been in empty against you so far, or did we use empty against you in the past, and then what kind of happened? Okay. Then I go to 3rd and medium / long. I count 3rd and medium is 3rd and 7, and long is anything at 10 and more. Okay, so that's my medium. I don't know if that's everybody else's medium. That's just what I define as medium. Okay, my 4th down thoughts. So when I break down 4th down thoughts, I'll have 4th down short, I'll have 4th down medium, 4th down long, and then I have what's called fourth down in game. Okay, so 4th down in game is, let's say we've been killing them on mesh. Okay, as we go, I'll write mesh on 4th down in game. If we've been killing them on QB power, I'll write, QB power, whatever. So my in-game calls are blank on my paper, and then I write them in during the game, if that makes sense, right? So then that comes back to just having a feel, because you might, it might be something that you're killing them on, they can't stop. So you want to come back to that on 4th down. The 2-point plays, I always have 5 plays. Some weeks it's 3 runs, 2 passes. Some weeks it's 3 passes, 2 runs. It just depends on what it is. But we're gonna practice those in practice, so that we're always in a mix. Screen and RPO tag. So we usually carry about 5 screens per week, and then RPO tag is on any run play. So those are just things that I want to add. So if I notice that, if you run outside zone and you're always blitzing the jack, or if we run jet and you're spinning the motion and leaving the backside alley open, or things like that, that I would know that, all right, when we do this, we're going to add this tag to the run game to make it fit. So that's kind of where I go through there. And then tricks and specials. So tricks are like, the reverse pass, the fumble rooski, the whatever, just kind of statue, whatever you think of. I like to carry a trick play. And the reason being is that the kids like it. They like to practice it. They get hype. It's fun. Everybody wants to be involved in it. So I like that. We try to keep practicing the same one until we run it. And once we run it, we throw it out and then come back to a new one. So that's kind of, what I'm saying? So that's kind of how we go there. Specials is anything special we might be doing that week. So, for example, if we're always running mesh out of 3x1. If we're gonna do it out of empty this week, that goes under specials, okay? Or if we're always maybe we'll try from quads this week and go 4x1, or just something, whatever it is, whatever special that kind of goes in there, and that's kind of the last thing. Now, what I do, and I don't know, where you guys would go with this in a youth situation, in every box here, okay, except for non-negotiables. Non-negotiables in motions and shifts. Those are the only 2 that are closed. The rest of them, I leave 1 space out on each joint. my man. I leave one space out on each one for the quarterback. So I'll call him. Now we'll be doing it on Zoom, but before we were doing it on FaceTime, I'll call him and say, "All right, give me your best come out play versus this." Okay, and then when he says one, okay, it also lets me know as to whether or not he's been watching film on the other team. Because if he says, "Well, I want 4 verticals, coach," but all they play is quarters, then obviously we know, right? He hasn't been watching tape. So this kind of holds the quarterbacks accountable, or they'll send me texts throughout the week. Hey, coach, I want empty smash, or I want on third and medium. Hey, this is a great time to run a screen because they're always blitzing. Or hey, this week in 2 point, can we get dagger mesh dagger and make sure that dig is on there, or just whatever just whatever it might be. It lets him in on the game plan in the process, where now he's owning the game plan instead of just being a part of it. And once again, I think that helps communication because I think that's something that the quarterbacks get excited about. Where it's kind of because I wanted that to happen when I was in high school, right? Because I always wanted to tell my coach, can we stop running Sally only on third down, right? I wanted to run it on first down. Like,
they might pick up on that after a while.
Yeah, see what I'm saying? Like, can we run Sally on first down? And can we run that waggle, right? Can we run that waggle on first down instead of always running on third? So I can throw it to somebody besides the fullback in the flat? Like, so it's kind of, now they kind of own it and they're like, all right, coach, well, look, if we run shock out of 3-by-1, then you're going to be in this coverage and I know I can bang that. Oh, cool, let's go then. Because I know, right, that if it's 3rd and 11 and the game's on the line, I can call that, right? Because he's the one that said put it in there.
Yep, totally.
So he believes when the call comes in that it's going to work. Hey, no, that right there, like G.I. Joe used to say, knowing's half the battle.
Absolutely. Saturday morning cartoons, man. I go back to those days in a second.
Hey, look, here you go.
Shit, right after the WWF cartoon, that was my favorite one. Hey, so this building a play sheet, I mean, are these literally the quadrants or the sections you have on the sheet? Are they broken up like with these as the headlines, or this is kind of how you kind of spit out all the information and then you kind of build it from there?
Yep, this is how I spit out all the information. So I put it here, then I have a general play sheet I use, and what I found is I have boxes. So like right here, you would see I have a 3rd and medium and long box. I got a 4th down box, right? I got a 2-point play box. I have a 1st down and come out box, okay? And then the rest of it is basically the practice script. So like if you're looking at the practice script, then it's by personnel. So I would have 21 personnel and then whatever the play script was, and then 11 personnel and whatever the play script was, and then 10 personnel. And what I do is I use a highlighter. So I have likes, loves, and no's, right? So my no's are the ones I know are going to work. Like those are the ones, those are in a special color, and I highlight it, and I got, I look, man, it's certain things that I'm different about. So I call it from the press box. I have 2 different Sharpies, right?
Oh, nice.
Every game. So I use a black one in the first half and a silver one in the second half, and I use checks and I use X's and I use circles and I cross out things. And if you see my play sheet after the game, it looks like a little kid doodled on it. Like, but like I keep track of blitzes and I keep track of fronts and I keep track of each possession on the side as to what we did. So it'll be a 1 and it's 3 and out punt. And then the second one is 2, 7 plays, touchdown. 3, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, when it comes to that type stuff, it's in my mind, if that makes sense. Like if I kind of make the joke that I feel like we're no huddle tempo all the time. So if I'm too far into the play sheet, I kind of feel like we're in trouble, if that makes sense. Like so because we practice consistent, and then they believe, I believe, and we're in, and then now all I'm really doing is making check marks, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Cool. And so Coach Ross as a question, and
Okay.
some of the air raid coaches we've had come on, and it's also in air raid certification by Hal Mummy himself. He talks about scripting the field, and trying to, put, hey, we're in the middle of the field. These are the plays I will run in the middle of the field. We're going in 20 yard, red zone. Here's my plays and doing it that way. Do you add that to your script? Sounds like you got a lot going on that script already, so that might be a little.
Okay. Here's my problem with the script. Okay. Look, boy. I love it because here, what I've noticed is this, right? The coaches that like the script, they live by it and die by it, right? And the ones that don't like the script are out of there. Like, they're like, that's the dumbest thing ever did. Me, you're gonna laugh at this because I'm somewhere in the middle. Okay. And the reason why I say I'm somewhere in the middle is this. On my play script, on the back, I got a section that's probably about, I'm going to tell you, it's probably about that big, okay? And it's called the first 10 and the second 10, okay? The first 10 is 10 plays, okay? The second 10 is 10 more plays that I would tell you this is first half, second half, okay? Now, through these plays, and it's funny because I make jokes with the head coach all the time because he was an offensive coordinator as well, and he scripted and ran his first 10 plays no matter what happened. Here's the problem. The first problem I had with building a script. The first problem is in your script, you're never taking account for a negative play. Okay. Right. So when you write your script, you don't say, all right, first and 10, we're going to run power right. Your next play is not based on you getting an offsides call and it being second and 20. Right. Or it's not based on you losing 5 and now it's second and 15. Uh-oh.
Yeah, no. In our minds, we got 7, and we're now in the right hash. So that's our biggest problem with hash run.
Yep, there you go. Now, here's my next one, okay? With all of this read option stuff that we're running, right? Let's say, for example, on my first play on the script is jet power read, right? So we're running jet sweep to the field. We're running QB power down the A gap, okay? So I'm expecting him through tape to give that jet sweep, right? Because let's say that the end always replaces. So that would put the ball in the left hash. Okay, but guess what though? The quarterback pulled it and ran power and ended up on the right hash. Yeah, my next play is scripted to be on the left hash and the ball's on the right hash. So now I got to flip. You see what I'm saying? So what I do, what I did this year, and I loved it, and now I think I'm gonna kind of start. This is going to be one of my speaking points from here on out. I did a first 10, and I'm gonna run those first 10 plays, right? But not in the order that they're in on the paper. Does that make sense?
Right. You got to run those first 10 in the first half, so the second 10 in the second half actually.
Yes. Does that make sense? So now there is not a script per se as order, but it's a 10-play deal that I did clear-minded on Sunday, right? With no pressure, no nothing. And I know these 10 plays are going to work. Yeah. So it's one of those type deals. And because I've had times where I've gotten away from that and called something like, you see something, and I don't know how it works for you guys, but like we get a lot of the worst team the worse the team is that we're playing, the worst junk defense that we get, right? So we call it either junk defense or defense of the week, where you've seen them and every time they play, they're in a 3-4 too high playing cover 2. Then you show up and all of a sudden they're in a 3-3 stack playing man and blitzing everybody. You're like, what is that?
Yeah. So D linemen are standing up, walking around. And stuff.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying? So now for me, we're going to run this, and now you see that. Now, what do you do with your script now? Like, I'm just like, you're like, okay, all right. So now that's when you get into, we're just going to run outside zone, and everybody's just going to reach it, and we're just, hey, we're going to see what happens. Like, but those are the things that I think, I don't like putting myself in the box with the script. I like more or less a cloud of things that I know are going to work. Does that kind of make sense?
And honestly, that in my experience, that's what happens. I mean, I've created these beautiful scripts and color coded. Down the middle is like, I even have it on like separated in 3 quadrants, like left part of the field, right part of the field, middle of the field, and like first 10 plays. I get into the game one thing happens in the second play and we're like, whatever. Like I'm doing it by feel and just by, what we know works. And you can see on the field, we do a lot of check with me's. They come to the line and look back. I'm looking at the defense. I'm like, cool, corner. That's going to work right now. Right. So I want to get better at forcing myself to rely on at least looking down at those 10 plays, right? Like every time after the game, I go look down, I go, why didn't I, like, this was clearly something that I said, well, like you said, without pressure 3 days ago over a beer, that this is going to work. And I didn't do it once. How do you get that discipline? Like, and maybe sitting up in the booth, we're not allowed to do that. Maybe that's different because you're not, like, the energy is not all around you and everything's not all hype. Maybe that sitting in the booth is one way to do it. But, like, did you have that issue where you would just abandon everything and just start calling it off your head because it's just like you're in the swing? And, like, how did you get that discipline to take the time, just chill? Let me look at this. Okay, make sure that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
So I most certainly had that play. I mean that issue. So what I've noticed is this, right? And it's weird because I'm gonna tell you where I got it from. I got it from Sean McVay. Actually, I was watching the Rams game, right? And if you ever watch him, as soon as the offensive, even though he's the head coach, as soon as the offensive series is over, he walks down the sideline with his paper, right? And it takes about 2 or 3 plays, and he's kind of boom, 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 boom. And then I guess the biggest thing I would tell you is if you're doing that, right, put a 1 next to some of those plays, right? And in your mind, what does the 1 mean? The 1 means if I haven't ran it yet, when we get this ball back, that's going to be the first play I run.
I love it.
You're starting, you just turn those into drive starters, right? Because you're saying at some point, right, those plays were going to be good. So I know I'm going to get 4 yards. So I'm going to get 4 yards, turn that into a starter. Now I can kick you off from there because even if in your mind you didn't get to all 10 of them, at least you got to the basis of, all right, this is what it is, right? And that might build you the next time to say, all right, I got to go back here. Because I know sometimes one of the things that I hate this because when I was an assistant, just a regular position coach, we used to do this. I hate when we practice stuff that we don't run in the game. Okay, now
100%.
It's different if you're telling me that, hey, we played the best team in Oakland in 3 weeks, so you're starting to practice for them, right? So you might say, hey, look, we got these 4 plays we're going to run against them, so you start 3 weeks in advance and y'all are just practice. That's different. But I'm talking about if you're spending time on counter in practice and then you get to the game and you don't run counter at all, it's a total waste. Like, so for me, that's one of those things where I'm like, all right, we got to run this. Like, and you know what I'm saying? Like, and if I forget, just like you said, to stop and put a star next to it. And if I still, and then the next comes and I didn't call it, then I'll put a check next to it. Then I'll put a circle. Like I'm basically forcing myself to every time you look at that, your eyes are going to go to that. All right, I'm going to call that. So I think like that, like, and maybe even taking I learned this too. When I switched to the new game script that I use now, I started taking it to practice with me, right? So naturally, I was thinking, all right, I want power read. Where is that? Boom, it's right there. All right, done. You know what I'm saying? So I can get to the play sheet faster, in my mind and not be searching through there trying to find something.
Yeah, totally. And I love that. And we're getting a lot of great comments about script, and I know this was going to be a hot topic because just we want to understand how to better set up our game plans, and not only that, but actually use them. And it's just so hard not to get caught up in the in the energy of the game and getting caught up in it. But that's huge. I think I can take away a few things just from that right there, and just try to be more disciplined because I mean, we only have, to be honest, we've kind of, when I put out this little air raid webinar series for middle school, I kind of, you don't have to cap it at 12, but I ask people, just think about capping your plays at 12 concepts, not actual plays, right? Because mesh left and right, we just call that one concept, right? So, and I really only have 10. I don't even use, we have 3 run plays and 6, gosh, I only have 9 now that I'm saying it out loud. I guess quick screens too. But anyway, so we have such a small playbook, like, and I still get lost even though we only have 10 to 12 plays. So this is all very valuable for these coaches. So I love it. Guys, we're pushing up almost to an hour and a half, so I'm gonna be conscious of everyone's time. You guys out there, any more questions for Coach Rapp? Put them in right now, or use that link to come in and ask him live. But yeah, so we're gonna start winding it down here. But if you guys have any more questions, please put them in there. Coach Rapp, I want to ask you just real. I mean, you're a down to earth guy. I can tell. You know, you're kind of somebody that I probably would love coaching with. So just as plain English as possible, what is your advice to these coaches who want to maybe take the coaching bug that they got to the next level? If they want to get to high school, what can they be doing now? You know, let's just say, like, look, just use me as an example. I got 2 more years of youth. Besides, before I need to decide if I'm going to stay here because I love it, which I do, or I'm going to go on to high school and try to see what I can do up there. What's the best thing for me to do to put myself in position, would you say, to be like a high school coach or take my game to the next level?
Connect with the high schools, right? Connect, reach out, make yourself, I'm not going to say make, you know, I don't really mean make yourself marketable, but you know what I mean? Like make yourself accessible, I guess, right? That's, I guess, the easiest way to say, I think that's that. I know in our area, the biggest disconnect in our area, and Coach Dean, you can correct me if I'm wrong, man. But from a high school coach in our area is a little unique than anywhere else in the country because we have we're kind of dominated in our area by private schools, and because of that, you know, the private schools use the youth leagues as recruiters, right? So they kind of block us out as public schools. So we try to fight the fight of, you know, making our area guys be welcome, right? So reach out to whatever high school you're interested in. And I'm not, you know, I don't really know how you guys work or whatever, but you know, I would say that most high school coaches have an open door policy. And the biggest thing is just be humble, right? Like when I came from the youth league, I came to learn. Like I was just a position coach on the JV. I was just trying to kind of learn how it works, how it goes, kind of like you said, what's the meeting process? What's the practice process? Kind of how do you, you know, get your point across without somebody kind of hitting you with the, come on, man, you're a youth league coach. You know what I'm saying? Like it's
right,
all,
exactly.
you know, so that's, I think it's just consistency is key, right? Be there, be on time, be energetic, bring some juice. You know, get knowledgeable. I think that's really the end all be all. I mean, myself, you know, we've won 4 state championships, and Coach Dean will tell you, I'm trying to figure out how to get 10. Like I'm not, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, you can't ever stop, because the day you stop learning is when you start getting worse. And if you're getting worse, then you're not getting better. And you know, I think that's the biggest thing, Coach. I think is reach out, be humble, right, and kind of go through the process of just, hey, you know, it's just because football is still football at the NFL level, at the college level, at the high school level, at the youth. It's still football. It's still block and tackle, right? It's just now which direction are you going in, or what do you call it? You know, that's really, you know, really what it comes down to. But that's the best. And if, you know, guys, if there's anything I can ever do to help, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I feel like, you know, I'm begging the college coaches to give me stuff, just like, you know, y'all, and so it's my job to give it back to however I can get it back. So, you know, I just want to be you know, a light or a passage, or, you know, whatever, however I can help. You never know, man. One of you guys might be, you know, a head college coach one day or something. You can come hire me. So, you know how that goes, man. So
I do love that about our community. And, you know, at first I thought, you know, maybe it's air raid guys because, you know, it's one of those topics that you either love it or you hate it. So most guys that choose one thing, they hang together and share everything. But now that we've kind of expanded this show to just be about football in general, I see that, you know, our football community, I don't know if it's just the culture from back in the day, it's just stayed all these years, but it's definitely built around family. It's definitely built around people helping each other. And I just love that, Coach. And I really appreciate you doing that for us, because like you said, man, we're trying to get to our next level. You're trying to get to your next level. And if you're a good coach, you know that, you know, you can know wing T and you could have been raised by wing T, but maybe it'll work better out of the shotgun. And maybe if we put in pistol and now we can add like, I love that about you, Coach, and I want everyone to really understand that you don't. Even though we started this channel as Air Raid, there's pieces, and we've talked to Wing T coaches, we've had them on. There's pieces from everything that you can take and make yourself a better coach, and hopefully make those kids even better. So I appreciate that knowledge, Coach. That's awesome. We're getting a lot of people on the chat saying thank you for your time, Coach Rapp. People really appreciate this. Coach Dean, I want to personally thank you for connecting me with Coach Rapp, and that's awesome. And this was one of the best interviews I've had so far. So thank you for making this happen. But Coach Dean, thank you for being a part of this community as well, and going back and forth with me on all the different channels. I really have enjoyed it.
Right, no problem. Thank you.
Yeah, and so remind everyone, you're coaching out. You are a middle school coach, and was this going to be your last year for middle school?
For me, yeah, this was going to be my last year. So unfortunately we got shut down, and so couldn't finish. But yeah, this was going to be my last year. So
cool. And your plans for next year? Were you planning on going up to high school? I think I remember you saying that at some point.
Maybe I might stay. Yeah, well, I might continue coaching. I might still stay at the youth level and still keep coaching. I might even stay at Marlboro where I'm at, just to try to keep the program going. And so I'm strongly considering that.
Good. Well, either way, I know you've put in a lot of years coaching. I think you told me you were doing youth for a while, and you went to high school and came back to youth. So thank you for doing what you've done. And and thank you again for being such a big part of this community. So, Coach, we'll continue to look for you. And Coach Rapp, again, I can't tell you how much we appreciate your time. Everybody go follow Coach Rapp on Twitter. I thought I saw on Twitter you had your own 7-on-7 program too. Is that the case?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, that's what I said. We're paired. The 7-on-7 program is paired with Battle, and it's called Team Flex. We're pretty good. We went, we go around. We went to Orlando and Vegas last year.
Nice.
We're a Battle national team. We host a tournament every year. In 2021, we're going to host one Memorial Weekend in DC. Battle sponsored. Man, it's a great deal. We got 13. No, hold on. What do we have? We got high school 15U and 13U. I think is what that was.
Right. I'm coming, Coach. We're coming out. We're coming out.
Going down, baby.
Hey, we're coming. I got my little guys 12U right now, but that'll line up just perfect for next year, actually.
Yeah.
Matter of fact.
Come on down.
Yes, sir. Okay, well, we'll talk about that. But yeah, everyone out there, Coach Rapp, we're not blowing smoke. This guy responds to everything. We've been in constant contact.
Yes,
Twitter is obviously, as you guys know, a great place to talk to coaches directly. He will, give you everything you need if you ask him. Coach, I might ping you on the side about some of those coaches' Google Sheets, because I love that. I love that, and I think that's kind of something I can add to my repertoire to make sure, not only to make me better, but honestly, I love the idea of giving your coaches a voice. And in youth, it could even be more dictatorial, unfortunately, because in high school you guys are kind of put into your positions and everyone knows what they're doing and it's kind of set. In youth, like, there's a lot of times where the OC is the wide receiver coach and the quarterback coach, and we're all kind of coaching three different things, so the lines are blurred a little bit, right? And a lot of times I don't even think about asking the defense what they think about my offensive plan, to be honest, but I should. They have the defensive mind, and they're watching the film like me. So I really love that piece of it.
Oh, let me tell you, boy, that's me and the head coach every week. Like, he'll send me this blitz and say, "Hey, man, how would you protect this?" Or I'll send him, "Hey, look, this is what they gonna do to this. What do you think?" And he's like, "That ain't gonna work." I'm saying, like, so it's a, I'm saying, it's kind of, so
totally.
that was a good deal. Yeah, like,
love it. All right, anything else you want to promote besides your Twitter? Can we do anything else to make your day better?
Nah, man, that's it. I'm good. That's it's been great, man. I always love an opportunity to kind of, just be able to talk the game and talk life, and yeah, man, I'm guessing that's pretty much it.
Okay, cool. Well, we're going to get back at you, Coach. We're definitely going to want you to come on and talk some more if you're open to it. But again, thank you, Coach Rapp. Thank you, Coach Dean. And thank everybody out there. Let's continue to spread the ball around, bring these numbers back up for youth sports, youth football in particular, because if we don't, guys, no one else will. So appreciate everyone watching, and we will talk to you guys next week. Thanks, Coach.
All right. Take care.